So, welcome back. We are here today with Kraken, the one and only. He's the original Kraken. For all you guys who don't know, makes heavy dubstep, just really spooky, scary stuff. Really puts you into a good place. I mean, he's got some great stuff, and check his links down below. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Kraken. My real name is Cade, but you know, yeah, Kraken. It's been for like 5 years now, so predate the Seattle Kraken, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome. I'm sure there's a bunch of scorpions out there as well. Um, yeah, man, cool stuff. I want to get into some of your journey, some of the things that um, have been big milestones for you in your career so far. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to vibe out, talk about music, the scene, and we'll talk about the future and kind of where you see this all headed. But let's go back to, I guess, would you call it like the first time that you entered the community or started building in the community? Was this Facebook group?
Um, no, actually, I had another Facebook group that I had, created, admin, and operated there for a while. It's gone a little bit dormant, but people still join every now and then. That was Bass and Beads Perler Peeps. When I first got into this community, I was a pretty big candy kid. I made a lot of bracelets and perlers and stuff. So that's kind of how I networked and got into the scene, actually. I got a lot of really cool opportunities just for making some cool perlers, some cool art. So, yeah, I don't know if you can see those over there. Those on that side, those are all perlers that I made. That big sudden death one there in the middle, I was able to meet him because of, and he signed that for me.
I was gonna
But
say, is
yeah,
that
so
one signed, right?
yes, sir. Yeah, I got three signed sudden death things, which is pretty cool. Jersey, two
Hell yeah.
perlers. But yeah, that was my inlet pretty much. Just posting them on like formerly Twitter, now X. I got some traction if they got retweeted and stuff. So it was pretty cool. I got an opportunity with that, and yeah, creating that group. That was for a while, like where I had a lot of friends, and I was pretty active in the 13 disciple group. So I made some friends there too. That
Wow.
was probably more the start back in like late 2018, early 2019.
Wow, super cool, man. And I know you've grown that Facebook group to now, how many is it?
Almost 2,500 people now. The sudden death one, the Children of the Void group.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's pretty exciting. Because it's like a niche market, and I think we've, kind of touched on that topic before as well. The sudden death as an artist, he's still somewhat of a very niche fan group. However, this fan group is like, he's garnered like a cult like following, which is honestly what I think any artist could ask for. If I could ask you today, would you rather have, a million fans, but they only like you, 1% of the time, or would you rather have 1,000 fans that like you 110% of the time?
the latter, of course.
Right. And so I think, yeah, he's been able to do that. So big ups to Danny, and yeah, I think it's super cool, man. I can always appreciate when somebody is building something, whether you're building a community or you're just like bringing people together for common interests. I just always think that that's super valuable. So kudos to you for doing that, and I'm sure you learned a lot along the way doing that. It's just good stuff, man. I think that's like a really big thing. So pat yourself on the back because that is big. It's something that not a lot of people do.
Right.
I definitely don't see a lot of people pulling that off the way you were able to do it. So big ups to you. Um, and let's talk a little bit about your music journey, man. Like when whereabouts did you start getting into doing music yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my introduction to dubstep and EDM of that form was sixth grade. It was Bangarang by Skrillex, which,
All right.
of course, all that early Skrillex stuff, that's the Godfather, game changing and very foundational to probably a lot of our music taste. I found like Excision, and then He Who Shall Not Be Named, Datsik,
Oh
Zed's Dead.
Jesus,
You know, back in the day, you know, when I was
Voldemort,
like
Voldemort.
exactly. Um, you know, but yeah, that was my introduction, and funny enough, I got more into rap when I got into like high school and stuff. And at my first job, I was working at Five Guys. There was this girl, she always just jokingly made fun of me for liking rap, and she liked EDM. She was a manager, so she always played music over the speaker at the end of the night. And I would jokingly dismiss it until there was a song one day that I'm like, all right, you got me. That's beautiful. What is that? And she's like, "Oh, that's Divinity by Porter Robinson." And then from there, I was hooked. I love the World's album so much. I have a Porter tattoo right there, you know,
Mhm.
repping. But then from there, that was planted in my mind. And then come a few years later, when I'm like 19 years old, there was a girl that I was crushing on, and she was huge into it, and I always kind of liked it, but it wasn't like that big of a deal to me just yet. But then I went to a festival, and that was my first rave EDM show of any sort, and I completely fell in love with it. That was New Year's 2018 into the beginning of 2019, and I realized very quickly that that was my passion. Just like driving back from that festival, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be one of those guys that's presenting my aesthetic on a big stage, just sharing what I've got to share. So, anyway, yeah, there at the beginning, and it's been all uphill since then, downhill. Who knows? We're working our way there though.
I think you've grown quite a bit. You know, from putting out your um, projects to you garnering support to even doing your first debut. Let's talk a little bit about that. Um, that happened somewhat recently, right?
Yes, sir. September 29th.
Yeah. How did that go? How did that whole thing start?
That was amazing. A dream come true, really. There's a promoter, a guy that I've been friendly with. We'd been friends on Facebook for I don't know how long. A while though. And he just, you know, he hit me up out of the blue. It was the first message I'd ever received from him. He's like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I'm like, "Going pretty good, dude. What's up with you?" He's like, you know, working. I just wanted to know if you wanted to play a show for me September 29th at the Tree Fort Music Hall." I'm like, "That is an incredible opportunity. That's a brand new venue here in Boise that is, in my opinion, now the nicest venue." So it was really cool to be actually the first part of the first bass music show there. I was offered that, and yeah, so I went and did that, and I'd say it went very well. I was very grateful for the turnout and the I guess the return of energy from the crowd and the people that were there to support me. That was pretty incredible. Yeah, I would say it was a success.
And who was headlining that show?
That would be Mr. Virtual Riot.
Oh, nice,
Uh,
nice.
Yes, sir. The man himself.
And
So,
you got to meet Virtual right?
sure did. Yeah, it was really cool. There at the end of the night, you know, he's a hero of mine. He's somebody that I've listened to since, you know, probably those 2018 days that I started really getting into this. Like
Right.
Virtual Riot's been a big piece to me, and I can't even tell you how many of his YouTube videos and tutorials I've watched, and how, you know, how big of a deal that he is for everybody in the scene and all together. So that was a dream come true to be, you know, given the opportunity to open for one of my idols. And then there at the end of the night, you know, I asked him like, can I meet him? You know, and they're like, yeah, sure. And they invited me into the green room, and it was just me, his visual artist, and him. And yeah, they no rush. He was such such a genuine, sweet person to me. You know, never made me feel rushed. He was chilling, like we were just talking, man, and I felt super welcomed. I told him it was my first show, and he was stoked for me. He's like, dude, that's it's a big deal. I remember my first show, and yeah, to tell that story, you know, he apparently was playing his first show on just a MIDI trigger pad. That's what they gave him to play his show on. He said it worked for the first 10 minutes and then just stopped working altogether, disconnected. But luckily, there was another system that had literally like just a music player on it with a track line bar pad, and he was literally just clicking through the trackpad to mix these songs together. Like very, very unglamorous. He said it didn't sound that great, but he didn't care. He just loved the opportunity to be there and to play music. And that's pretty valuable to know for a lot of people that a guy of his stature, caliber, like somebody who's been one of the main guys in this scene for such a long time. Of course, every he had humble beginnings. Most of them, and most of us, hopefully, have. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Just humanizes him, puts him on, you know, a level that you can relate to, and that was really cool to
I'll
be
tell
able to
you. I'll
experience.
tell you what, man. I think you've had one of the best first shows in the history of first shows, to be honest. Because yeah, dude, I remember mine. It was just as shitty. Um, so yeah, man. Uh, that's awesome, dude. I think you had an absolute amazing experience. I really wish I could have been there because it looked dope. It looked really cool, man. Um, trying to think. Yeah, dude, you've done quite a bit already in your career, and I guess I just really want to know, man. Like, oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Have we gotten the Virtual Riot Skrillex collab yet? Has that been done
I
before?
they've made one. They've made probably like two or three. Just because I've seen Virtual Riot and he's like, hey, you want with Skrillex or whatever. I don't think it's been released. I could be wrong and about how many, but I'm pretty sure they do have some tracks together, and that will be a very exciting day when that drops.
I
But
was gonna say yeah, because
yeah, I don't know about the whereabouts on that. That'd be really sweet though. I'd be very excited to
but
hear
you
that.
got the inside scoop. You know that they've collaborated of some in some way.
As far as I know, I didn't. It's not like I was like, "Hey Val, you and Sonny up to anything these days?"
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure upon seeing him on stage, he hops on the mic. Hey, new one with Skrillex. Everybody goes crazy. You did. I remember that moment at my show. Of course, I was jamming out while he was up there, and
Yeah.
yeah, new one with Skrillex. I think I might have even taken a video of it on like my sister's phone, but that'd be hard to track down. But anyway, it exists.
Wow, that's interesting, man. So I didn't even know that. But that's cool. I've been seeing some of the, I guess, just collaborations that Skrillex has been doing. Um, hearing some of those. But so now you're in a really good spot. I think you're in a really good place to continue to do more shows, to continue to release more albums. Where do you where do you see things headed? Not just for yourself, but I think like overall in the EDM scene. Like, where do you see things going? What's catching your eye lately?
What's catching my eye is I think that the smaller guys, the underground guys, they're getting the attention that they deserve now. I think these bigger producers, guys like Danny, Sudden Death, I can't even tell you how many times just a simple tweet of his like, hey, you should listen to this guy's music. And I'm like, okay, and I do. Boom, I have one of my new favorite artists. Like, I would have never known about them had one of those bigger guys not supported somebody like that. And I think I'm seeing more of that these days. That's really cool. And it's also something that I kind of think about, I have to think about, like, as I'm, like, digging into this scene so much, and this is, like, my passion and what I listen to, some of these guys that seem like foundational and just, like, household names to me in this scene, they're underground, and people don't know who they are, and that blows my mind. Some of my favorite artists, but I think they're coming up, and I really like the support that's coming from the artists these days. I'd like to create some of those relationships and friends with those guys, be friends with those guys. Uh, be really cool. There's a lot of cool people in the scene these days, and I think more of the smaller guys are getting the lens now, and I appreciate that.
Also, also, so no one's confused out there. I do believe the underground is really where the magic happens. Like headline shows are cool. I think festivals are cool as well. But there's some magic happening in the underground that just can't be found anywhere else. And I think that's where like the real passion lies. You know, I remember us doing our underground nights. We called them Underground Tuesdays, and what was funny about all the DJs that played there and just everyone kind of in that little scene, the little pocket, was that like the more underground track your track was, like the fucking harder it hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we
100%.
we were all looking for those tracks that had like two plays on it, and it was just
Right.
like the craziest thing. You know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we were just looking for like the weirdest sounds, the weirdest of everything. Nothing really mainstream. There was some stuff that I would consider like popular in EDM culture back then, but yeah, you know, it was just kind of like the less the less your tracks were known, like the cooler it was. Or if you could mix the lesser known tracks with well known tracks, that's also a good fucking idea too.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, man. It was really cool to see that. Um, I'm gonna open up the conversation and let you ask some questions. You know, maybe some things that are on your mind. You know, I want it to be a dialogue. You know, back and forth. I
Yeah,
think that'd be super cool.
of course. Um, yeah, so I know that you've taken a lot of self-responsibility in something that I admire a lot in being like a coach, a teacher, a trainer for, people, whether it be within music or just life coaching or just, trying to keep people on the right track to being good people. That's something that you take a lot of pride and passion in. Tell me a little bit about that. What makes Scorpion tick?
Yeah. The coaching thing was kind of kind of weird, like how it happened. Um, it what it wasn't that long ago that I was like, you know, sitting on my floor, like having an existential crisis myself, you know, like not understanding, you know, why I was put on this earth. What's the point of life? Like, why should I even try in the first place? You know, these were questions that were um, all just floating inside my head. And yeah, I can remember that just feeling really lost and, you know, not really knowing like what the hell I was supposed to do here on my time on earth. And I think around the same time was when I taught my first summer camps. So I used to teach drums. I taught kids, you know, how to play the drum set. Remember, I got this one kid. Yeah, he got him back there, the electronic kit. We were doing acoustic at the time, and I remember getting this kid like he was a superstar himself, but like just getting him from beginner like novice level to getting to play, you know, Billie Jean, uh, Michael Jackson. He could play the whole song through by himself, and he must have been, I don't know, 9 years old, 10 years
That's
old. Like
sweet.
this kid was young, um, and I coached other people too and other kids in the camp. And you know, I just remember having a lot of patience with them. Um, I it reminded me of when I started because I started in those same summer camps, same company when I was 7 years old. Um, and I remember it was actually funny, man. The first teacher I had, he was a piece of shit. Like not
And that,
not like in skill level. Like yeah, he could play the drums, but he was just an asshole of a guy. Um, he was a terrible teacher. I didn't learn much from him. I remember asking him how he did, you know, his drum fills, and he gave the most douchey answer. He was like, "You just gotta feel it, bro." And then he just did like this crazy drum fill right in front of me.
you're like, wow, thanks. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah. And
take
dude,
that with me, sir.
I was 7 at the time, dude, and he was like, I just remember he was trying to showboat in front of a 7 year old. Like,
Yeah, what's that about?
yeah, it was insane. It even got so bad to the point where like, uh, I mean, I remember like he got fired because he started like you know pushing me around and he like physically and then yeah pushing me around and this guy must have been in his 20s and then he like tripped me in the hallway and I like slammed into the wall and like really hurt myself. And yeah, that's when he got fired. Um,
Good.
yeah,
Fuck
it
that
was
guy. What
insane.
the hell?
It was insane,
Wow.
dude. I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know why he was being
Yeah.
such a douche to me. Um, but after he was gone, I got a new instructor. His name was John, and actually got my first drum set from him. And that dude was like such a great teacher, man. Like, oh man, when I would learn something, he would push me to take it a step further. Like, we never got complacent, and even if we finished a workbook, we kind of like pushed on to the next one. And so he really did test. He like challenged me. I was like 7, dude, and we were playing like this jazz workbook, and I was like using all my limbs. I was using everything, both legs, both hands, and he's like, all right, now try to add this other rhythm into the beat that you're already doing. And I'm like, holy crap. I was like, this beat's hard enough. And he's like, just try it. And I remember trying it, and I kind of got it down. And after I kind of burnt myself out, he was like, that's good. He's like, you're going further than you think you can. You're doing better than you thought you could. And it was true. He was getting the most out of me, and in turn, him challenging me allowed me to get the most out of myself. And so, it was very, very just special, man, to have someone who really wanted to see you succeed in such a great way and have a big impact that I still remember it to this day. You know, Here we
Yeah,
are, so some crazy years later. So, um,
absolutely.
it's things like that, man. It's just having great mentors. And you know what's funny about great mentors? Some mentors impact you in such a good way, but you don't even remember like how they did it.
Hmm.
Like, or what they said or what the lesson was. You just know that you got it from them. You got something from them that made you better.
Yeah.
And I think that's also super cool. So I don't know, man. The coaching thing really started there when I was, teaching those drum classes, and then from there, um, I remember I taught a few like DJ like private lessons. I remember I just had some guys that saw me, DJing out at the bars. They would be like, I want to learn. And I was like, cool, man, pay me, beer money, and I'll fucking show you everything I know. Um, and I practiced a ton, man. It wasn't like I just whatever. Like, I took it very seriously. I had a lot of pride in it, and I practice all the time, dude. It's funny. I used to practice so much, and now I don't even touch the DJ decks. It's super funny how that works. But yeah, dude. I think there's something happening where I don't know, man. I just wanna impact people the same way that other people have impacted me, because I know that there's a special relationship, even though that instructor John is no longer in my life. Like, the impact that he did is like will last forever. You know. So
Hmm.
it's just shit like that, man. It's just things like that, special moments that make me feel good inside, and it honestly feels good to help others. Like, if you ever start feeling like you're not worth anything, you start feeling like you're worthless. Go like help some people out and just do something nice for someone at the grocery store or something. I promise you, man, like, it'll change the way you start to see yourself, because you're like doing the actions, like letting somebody go first in line, or uh, taking somebody's cart back for them, you know, um, or even paying for someone's groceries. I mean, like, if you have the means to, and they like have a few items, or maybe they're only buying one item, just ask them like, hey, can I get that for you? Like, just little things like that can help you internally a lot. Like, you won't feel worthless. You'll actually start to feel better about yourself, because you're proving to yourself that, like, you're more caring, or more noble than you think you are.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a really interesting question, man. I gotta keep thinking about it too, because it's like one of those things that's still happening. It's still growing. Like, we don't know where it's gonna go.
Transient, like water.
Bruce Lee, right?
Something like that.
But yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the music you've been making recently. I know you had a release on your own not too long ago, a very killer song called Japan that I'm very fond of. Tell me about that song. How much time went into that? What was the process of making that like?
Japan probably all in was like 20 hours. Not all back to back, but the process was kind of frustrating because I think when you try to make like something as best as you possibly can, you go into this perfectionist mode where like you just want every little thing about it to be perfect. And I think the problem is like you got to find that middle ground of like perfectly imperfect, or else you're just
Right.
gonna struggle the whole time. Like you're just gonna back and forth. Like it'll never finish. It'll never be finished, man.
Right.
Believe it or
That's
not, I
that
touched.
point.
I think I touched
Great point.
Japan. It was either today or yesterday. I touched it and I re-uploaded it. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I re-uploaded it because
Been there, done that.
I've been getting feedback from these other producers who are listening to the track. And
Hmm.
one guy told me yesterday, he was like, hey, that main bass sound doesn't need the low pass filter you put on it. And then I listened to the track and I was like, he's right. So I changed it. I opened up that filter and let some more high frequencies in there. And yeah, man, the process was tough. I was trying to really nail it down, and then of course, doing the bass, the sound design for it, and then I would like jump in my car, listen to it that day, and then take some notes on what I'm gonna fix in the studio. Then I'd re-upload it, take it back into the car. Of course, I would keep the track on private and just be doing that kind of song and dance. So that took maybe like 2 weeks of just me bouncing it. Because sometimes I'd get in my car and I'd be like, shit, I should have uploaded the newest version. That way I can listen to it right now. But I didn't.
Right.
So there goes another day of like, I'll listen to it tomorrow. Um,
So
I,
I wanted to ask you
yeah,
just real quick because this is actually perhaps useful if people don't know. So when you say you re-uploaded the track, did you make an entirely new upload or did you just replace the file on the same upload?
replacing the file. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I do too. I just wanted to, yeah, you can keep your little stats for your friends that listen to it, and when you release it, it'll have like 50 listens already. Have fun.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It's a good starting point. I don't think my privates ever get to like 50. The most my privates will ever get to is like 3 listens, which is fun. I keep things pretty airtight before before I drop them.
Right,
But who knows?
right.
Maybe I should start sending out more private tracks. I mean, that'd be cool. Like I have a lot
Yeah.
that are in the vault, just locked away. So um, yeah, that might be interesting. Who knows?
Yeah, like I mean, if you got stuff that it's good, it's ready to be listened to. It might not be the ready to release, say in terms of like scheduling and stuff. The song could be finished, but yeah, send it to your friends. Send it to people that would have interest. You don't want to bombard them, and that's something that I perhaps did to you, and I took a good lesson out of that. Like you're always continually working as you're on your songs, like you say. Is it ever really finished? Well, when you get near the end, maybe don't go send off every version as soon as you export it because you're probably going to make it better the next day or even within the hour. And then you're like, oh, I already sent it to my friend. They already listened to it. But oh, it's so much better now. You should listen to it again. And then, just, yeah, yeah, like hold on to it. And it's also sometimes good to like sit on a track, unlisten, like where you get it to a point where you think it's pretty much finished. It's about pre-master level. And then leave it alone for like a week. Come back, listen to it. If anything sticks out to you, then I can't tell you how many times I've improved songs that I thought were already done just because I listened to them later with fresh ears and way way different.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
One thing that I've also found for myself, just as I've been listening to a lot of people's tracks, people send me stuff all the time. Like it's the ungodly amount of demo tracks nowadays that people just want you to listen through, It's I'm starting to feel like a record label at this point. Like,
Yeah,
there's
just like
so many, but I
mm,
will tell you this though. I've started to tell people because of how many tracks I've listened to already. I've started to tell people, hey, look, don't send me like your rough demos. Like send me your best stuff. I want to hear, your best, most finished work. Because when I get on a call like this with them, dude, they're literally jump straight to their DAW. They share their screen and they're like, listen to this one. And I just started this one and listen to that one. And they're all like tracks that are only 10% finished. They're all just
you're right.
ideas. And these are the
Mm,
ones they want to show me because I guess they want me to tell them, oh, that one right there, like that's the idea you should finish. But the reality is, it's like, we don't know how they're going to turn out at the end. Like, they're all too fresh. You might make a really cool hook, but if the verse sucks and the breakdown is terrible, it's like, nah, next. It's
one's
like,
not done yet.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you got a hook. Like, that's really what you have.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, it's interesting. So I've started to tell people because, like, yeah, they just want to go show me all their demos, and I'm like, dude, show me the best thing that you've made, and then they like think
Yeah.
about it for a second, and then they're like, they show me this track that's like from like 2 years ago, and I'm like, okay, it's better than,
Lead with this.
yeah.
Lead with this one.
But then
Yeah.
that's also the other thing. It's like if the best thing you've ever made was like 2 years ago, then that's not good either. Like you should be continually growing and always kind of pushing the needle of what you're making.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
it's been a fun year. 2023 is shaped up to be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a up and down year. I've definitely learned a lot about myself, but I feel more secure than ever with my passion in this. I know that it's what I'm meant for, and I love it. So, here's to the rest of 2023 and even beyond. I think we got a lot of cool stuff on the way these coming years. So,
What do you think is a few actions that people can do to level up? Like what are some things that you're seeing that's like, I talked about this in a short podcast this morning, and one of the things I talked about was how people are afraid to do something radical. You ever heard that
yeah,
that term, right? The word radical.
of course. Yeah, something crazy, big, perhaps,
And people
extreme.
people tend to attach the word radical like with a negative connotation, because for me, when I hear the word radical, I think of radical terrorist, right? Like a radical terrorism. Is that what you think of? What do you think of when you hear the word radical?
Radical, dude. That's radical, dude.
Oh, like
Like,
rad.
sick. That's rad. Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my first one. It's like that's rad, and then if you think about it a little more, then you get to the Taliban. But
And then you get to
before
the Taliban.
that, before that, dude, that shit's rad
I was gonna
for sure.
say I've seen more terrorist things than surfer dudes saying it, but I get it. I get it. I totally understand that. So my point from there was, I was saying that a lot of people are afraid to do something radical, and it's also because, like, I think they demonize that term to begin with, when it's a pretty good, it's a pretty good term, like, to make a
Yeah,
big change in your life means you're going somewhere. So what are some of the radical things that people can do to level up themselves in the next year?
radical, dude. Absolutely crazy. The craziest thing you can do is go talk to people. Go put yourself in the scene. Go like shake hands, make friends. This is something you've taught me a lot about. At least, even in the social media market, like connect with people. Tap in, let them know your name, let them know your face, and like that's huge. Just creating those relationships. And something we've talked about in the past is that you don't always need something from somebody, or they don't always need something from you. And that's sometimes, it feels like perhaps that isn't the case. But, more often than not, I find that people are good. And, just making those friends and connections are huge. So many of my friends that are trying to progress themselves here in this scene as well. I find them showing up right before their set. They go up on stage, they say what's up to a couple people after they get off, and then they dip. They said hi to the same people that they already know, and they didn't give anybody any time to like see who that guy on the stage was. Like, okay, I saw you up there, but who are you? You know, like, and so I think that's honestly just the biggest thing. Just getting your foot in the door, just being friends with people, and it's not actually that radical, obviously. Um, yeah, I guess in terms of radicality, something that I'm doing for myself is I'm living here right now in Meridian, Idaho. Soon I'm moving to Texas. That's very big for me to go put myself closer to the scene and put myself where it's going down, and not everybody can just up and move across the country, and that's not in the cards for everybody. But I would say that's pretty radical, at least for myself, and it shows that you could do something. You could do it if you put your time and effort and you have a dream. Like I've been wanting to go back to Texas since I lived there the first time in 2019. I had to come home during COVID, but yeah, I'm just ready to take that jump again. Like go out and experience life. Don't stay in your hometown forever. It's like you've already exhausted all those resources. You know everybody. You know all the spots. You know exactly where they're gonna be. Leave for 5 years. Come back. 90% of them are gonna be doing the exact same thing. And your life is going. You've lived a lifetime in those 5 years. Like you know, go experience life. Put yourself out there. That's huge.
Yeah, man, you're speaking some real truths right there. There are a lot of people that, born in their hometown or the city that they live in, and they die there. They're born there, they die there, they never leave. Um, to me, I think it just people lack perspective. It wasn't until I went to other cities in America that I realized that life is different in other areas. People think different, people talk different, they walk different, they act different. And I'm not saying it's inherently good nor bad. I'm just saying different perspectives. A fresh perspective can really shed some light on um, some of the hidden truths that you've been looking for, and then also it can reveal some of the common lies that you've been told. Um, to simply think that the world uh, operates the same way as it does in your hometown is just like crazy to think about. Like,
Probably not true.
yeah. So
I'm
it's just interesting, man. Like I want to give people more perspective, and I think, instead of sending my kid to college, I'm just gonna fly him around the world, and he's gonna live in different countries, a month at a time, and be like, all right, Jimmy, like, what'd you learn in Indonesia? And he's like,
what a
he's
dream.
he's gonna be like, they're a lot. Life is a lot harder here than it is back home. I'm like, oh no shit. I'm glad you learned. Like, you got it easy, bro. And I think
Perspective.
perspective, man, it can really change the way you live. Because back when I was again feeling lost, like existential crisis, dude, I didn't know. I had no idea how good I had it. Like, I thought life was going terribly, when in reality, like, I had it better than like 90% of the world. Um,
Yeah.
just didn't know it, dude. I just had no idea. Um,
Right.
and it actually was ignorance, just plain ignorance, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing. And then I think it wasn't until I started, uncovering some of those truths. And you can do it from home. Like, actually, you don't have to leave, man. The internet's a great place. The internet's a great place to learn and to gain some perspective, find mentors, learn lessons. If you go on YouTube right now, if you go on Instagram, there's people that you can follow that'll teach you a lifetime's worth of lessons. So that's
Mm-hmm.
powerful too, man. Actually, I've been listening to this podcast. It's called Diary of a CEO. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I
Um,
haven't.
it's super cool, man. He had Rainn Wilson, who was Dwight
Yeah,
from The
of course.
Office, um, and then he's had just a bunch of like multimillionaire, billionaire entrepreneurs on there as well. So Just about everyone. And I learned, dude, I learned so much from Rain Wilson. Did you know that he actually was like, I don't know, I can't remember if he was born out there, but he spent like his early childhood in Central America.
No, really? That's cool. I
It
didn't
was
know that.
it was nuts. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. Um, yeah, he had it rough growing up. I didn't know, had no idea. But yeah, he had it really rough growing up.
And
Yeah, I learned so much from
it makes
him.
it easier to support someone, especially knowing where they came from, how hard they worked to get there. That's really, really inspiring. I love hearing stories like that.
Oh yeah, man, you gotta watch the whole podcast. It's great. Because I think Rain's in that wisdom in his wisdom years now, and he's learned so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, dude, definitely check that one out. Um, I've been trying to read more, but I've been doing more like the audiobooks lately. This also goes to some of the things that people can do to level up. I think if you pick up a book or an audiobook and really just dive deep. Um, I only pick nonfiction books, and a lot of the books that I pick are like self mastery, how to be a more effective communicator. When I was doing my sales job, I just read nothing but sales books and progressed to be one of the top sales guys in the city. So it's
Heck yeah.
just it's just little things like that. But yeah, I've been reading this. I've been listening to this audiobook. It's by Jay Shetty. He is a entrepreneur. It's this guy right here. But the book is called Think Like a Monk. And I didn't know this, but he was a monk at one time in India.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he did the whole monk life and just
Like the minimalist approach and the like Zen kind of stuff.
yeah, man. And then it's interesting the lessons that he talks about. It's just blows my mind to where I'm literally driving and he'll like drop a gem, right? He'll say like this line and I literally like say out loud, I like shout it. I'm like, "Wow." Because it's like that mind blowing. I'm like, "Bro, like," and it just clicks and it just makes sense. And then I think once you've read a few books and you kind of start like getting hitting your stride or you listen to enough audiobooks, the rest of them are kind of like you'll pick up things along the way, you'll still keep learning, but the rest of the content is mainly just like affirmations, you know.
Right.
They're like, eat healthier, you're like I already knew that. So that's kind of what I was already thinking. And then they're like, go to the gym. Oh yeah, I was thinking that. So it's kind of just like reinforcing those healthy habits that you have heard of. But yeah, man, that's a big one that I think people can level up because it's just so many. I want to shift gears really quickly and talk about something that I'm doing. Maybe this is like a selfish plug, but it's more of a teaser. Um,
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm writing a book,
Hey, yo.
not
Okay.
music related. Um,
Yo.
Maybe there'll be a music chapter in there, but I just got done with chapter one. Um, I don't know if I want to release the title of the book just yet, but it's a pretty good. Maybe I'll give you the subtitle. The subtitle is something like um, "Finding Purpose Through Self Observation," something like that. Um, and so it's going to be one of those guides, like kind of like a tool or a handbook of like how to find purpose, solving some of the things that I was struggling with as a 19-year-old. You know,
Mm.
um, the existential crisis mode, right? Like the feeling lost, the feeling of worthlessness, feeling like a piece of shit, feeling like you're not good for anything or you're a failure. It's really for that kind of mode or that mindset because we all can dip into a dark place sometimes and we can all kind of we all have those moments where all that stuff just kind of surfaces up And
Hmm.
so I think this book is going to be very powerful for that reason. Um, and I actually come at it from like not an expert's point of view because I'm still super young, but it comes from like a personal testimony of like, you know, what I went through and what helped me personally. Um, so these aren't like my own ideas. These are just, rehashed ideas of things that I stole from, other people, like, what I learned from other people's books. And
The sharing of experiences.
yeah, man. Yeah. I think what's his name did that? Ryan Holiday. He wrote a book uh called something Silence. Anyways, he writes about stoicism. Um Man, it's killing me I read the book and I'm blanking on the it was years back. But anyways, he rehashes ideas from the Stoic philosophy. None of them are his own, and they all stem from like over 1,000 years ago. It was like 300 AD, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the year. It was like 300 AD. He writes a lot about Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and I don't. Are you familiar with Stoic philosophy? Like, do you?
Stoicism,
Yeah,
um, basically a little bit. It's just kind of like almost like detaching yourself from almost like uh, I don't want to say trivial, but like detaching yourself from like I guess stresses, certain things, just kind of like you know, it's like a security. It's almost like a contentment in a sense. I don't know. You're not necessarily presenting anything extra emotionally. I think you're pretty even keel. That's how
yeah,
I think of stoicism.
yeah. Kind of like staying balanced. I remember the book now because I read it. He's written "Stillness is the Key." He's also um, written a book called "Ego is the Enemy," and I need to read that one because that one sounds super cool. I've had a lot of ego deaths in my life, and um, I think my ego has actually. I don't know if it's gone to an all time low because I feel like it. Maybe it has, honestly, because I think I wish people knew like how humbly I thought of myself. Like I don't see myself as special or anything like that. I don't think I'm like better than anyone else. I just truly feel like you you are the culmination of the work that you put in. Like life is super simple that way. Like yeah, you can be born with talent, but like even Beyonce had to take vocal training classes as well. Um, so or had to practice. You know what I mean? Like you still got to put in the work.
Right. Right.
Um, so yeah, dude, I think ego is a fun thing to talk about. What are your thoughts on like ego and stuff like that?
Well, first step, I do want to say that I find you to be a special person.
I appreciate that.
You, yeah, absolutely. There's not a lot of people that have that this same willingness to help literally anybody. I know that anybody could hop into your inbox and you'd be the first person there. You would be on a call with them just like this. Anybody that wanted it. Like that's pretty special, you know. Not a lot of people are that caring, just in general. So I wanted to lay that to bed. You're a pretty cool dude.
Thanks.
Um, yeah. In terms of ego, I think there's a difference between confidence and cockiness, and that you gotta toe that line. It comes to, do you think you're better than them, or do you just believe in yourself? Is the glass half full or half empty? Do you not believe in them, or do you believe in yourself? And believing in yourself is going to be a lot more impactful, and like feel like the ego is almost where it's all about you. It's like you care about yourself and like not much else. But then, I think there's a healthy way to have that self confidence and belief in yourself without, I suppose, putting other people down in the process and like putting yourself so above everybody else. Um, yeah, ultimately, I think that's what it is, you know, be confident, believe in yourself, and don't let anybody shake that out of you because that's important. That's what's going to get you through. Um, but also keep your feet on the ground, you know? It's like even if things start working in your favor, you know, you can jinx it by getting too high on yourself and you know and thinking that you're owed anything. You know, there's a lot of entitlement just in general in this world, and you know nobody's really owed anything, no matter where you came from, where you started, how much money you have, who your parents are. You know, so just going out there and like establishing yourself, commanding your own respect in a way that, you know, people like you earned it. You earn that respect and you offer it to them as well. That is more healthy than ego.
Dude, I'm like super blown away. Like I'm actually mind blown right now because the stuff you just said was the exact same stuff that got me out of depression.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
those it's that. It's like those hard truths, man.
yeah, and you know, same here, you know, like to quickly a project that I've always dreamed of with Kraken since the early days, since 2018, 2019, is the Depths. The Depths is a project of mine that is not created. I want to get to the point where, you know, I am making the stuff that I feel deserves to be made for that project. But the depths is basically everybody has their own depths, and you have to defeat your depths to surface. Your depths are your depression, that void inside of your head where, you know, you find yourself sitting here staring at the wall for hours, just like questioning everything. But you know, you gotta do that sometimes. You gotta sit in your depths and you have to embrace them and you have to feel it all. You have to take in what you're experiencing because if you push it away, it's gonna stay with you. You're just not gonna think about it and it's still gonna weigh on you the whole time. So, you know, untie some of those knots, make peace with your things, and yeah.
Peace is what a lot of us need more
Absolutely.
now than ever. And you know, I don't think peace is something like a luxury, although it is like in our modern day and age. But I feel like peace is a necessity. Um, just just to have an overall like happy life. You know, look, I'll put it this way: like if you're working at a place and you just really don't like going to work, like if you have any of those urges of like, yeah, I don't want to go, there are
Yep.
more jobs openings today than ever. Like there's so many jobs right now that are available. Uh, Even if everyone went to work, they still wouldn't be able to fill all the jobs. Um, you know, companies are scaling. Companies are getting bigger. Companies are hiring more. You know, companies are getting so big nowadays that they're going global. They need more offices. You know, they're building offices in Singapore, Australia, you know, the UK. You're telling me that American made companies that are expanding globally and yet there's no job openings for you? That just doesn't
Right.
make sense. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're doing so good that they're leaving America to find people. So it's not that the openings aren't there. You know, I think there's way too many opportunities now, especially with the internet. And so like, yeah, that's number one, man. Like if you're just in a place that you don't like to be at, just get the fuck out. Just leave tomorrow.
Yep.
You know, start applying somewhere else because I promise you,
Yep.
there's a team out there that will value um, the skills that you can bring to the table, or overall just like your enthusiasm. Like if you have like passion for something, or if you're enthusiastic for a certain field, go do that. Like That's the way I see it. Um,
Hmm.
who cares about the resume? I didn't finish university. It's never held me back, not once. Um, it always comes down to like who you are as a person, and so yeah, I just want to push people, man, to like get out of that job you hate, because that's actually what's screwing you up too. You feel like your life is miserable, and everything you do outside of work is to escape the fact that you have a crappy job.
Yeah. Yeah, I've turned down big money for jobs that I knew wouldn't be good for my mental health, just in terms of how much I didn't enjoy the day to day of those jobs. I chose peace over monetary value, which sometimes you have to sacrifice, and that's absolutely necessary. But sacrificing your day-to-day life and the enjoyment of your life essentially because of your tied down responsibility to something that you hate doing in the first place, like it's never worth it. Yeah, make your day-to-day, choose peace. Again, get a different job if that. Yeah, I'm with
Dude,
you.
I feel like I would be making more money if I was like super transactional, didn't care about people's feelings, and just chased after the money. I think it would be a more evil way. It would be a more evil version of myself. Because I'm a smart guy, so I think like I could manipulate very well if I wanted to, um, and I think that although I'd be making more money in that universe, I can guarantee you without a doubt I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. And I don't think the money would outweigh the benefits of having your peace and happiness at the forefront of your life. Like, I don't know, dude. I wake up every
Yeah,
morning like fucking just thanking
right.
God, thanking the world, just thanking everything. Like I literally just wake up so thankful every morning. Um, there's no wrong side of the bed for me. Like, cause I'm in control. Like I choose how I want to look at things, and I tend to choose to look at them in a very good light. Um, but I don't know, dude. I just want to push, man. I think more people can do it, whether they're artists or they're not. Like, I think more people can start to make a change, but it's slow. And that was one thing that I was gonna remind you, dude. Like the depths, getting to that place where you want to get to. I think of it like slow and steady. You know,
Yeah.
I think of it like a turtle, man. Like that turtle is just slowly chugging along, but like the turtle will get there.
This jersey here is a Krywatchy jersey. It is signed by Kaiwachi himself. And
Nice.
on here, he says, "Keep going, stay patient, Kraken." And I remember he said the same thing to me twice, the two times that I've met him, like 4 or 5 years separate. But it's a good lesson, and I'm glad to hear that he passes it on to people, because when he told me the first time, I never forgot it. Like I remember those words every day, and that's why like when he said it again, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you saying that. It's in here. He says people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10. Like you think you're going to make it tomorrow night, but that's not going to happen. And then in 4 or 5 years, if you've been doing a good job, by the sixth year, boom, you might be there. By that year 10, you are the guy that you've always wanted to be. But you have to put in that day to day, that year to year, put in that 10 years. And, if things work out for you and you're lucky enough, maybe it won't take that long. But, set your sights realistically and don't lose your morale if you're in year 2 and you're not headlining Lost Lands already. So
Jay Shetty was talking about our society, like seeing people like Mark Zuckerberg or the founder of Snapchat. He became the youngest billionaire at 24 years old.
oh
Um,
wow.
and what these do, or even look at Billie Eilish. Like, how old was she? Like, what, like 15, 16 or something?
When she popped off, yeah, she's
Yeah,
probably not that old. She's probably like 20 now, 20,
yeah, yeah.
21.
But it's just what our society's really come to believe is that like if you don't if you're not a massive success in your 20s, then you're a fucking failure, and that's just not true. Um,
LS Dream is one of my favorite examples. I'm pretty sure he's in
you're
his
talking about
40s.
Brills?
Yeah, well, yeah, there you
You're
go. The
talking
OG
about
boy.
Brills? And
There you go. I found him as LS Dream, you know. So
that's cool,
that's
dude. That's cool.
yeah, he holds my heart in that way. He what a light sunshine beam of a human being. But he made it, you know, as far well, okay, you know him from the OG days. For me,
I've been
you
listening to
know,
Brills tracks for a fucking long time, dude.
right.
It's just cool.
For me, when, you know, 2018, 2019, when it was hitting big for me, that's when I found LS Dream. And yeah, anyway, he was in his like late 30s, early 40s, and I think he's at his biggest right now. You know what I mean? Like he's been around for a long time, sure, but right now the support and the that he has is at its peak, or you know, perhaps still growing. He's a great person. I hope he keeps getting support. But that's at the biggest point for him right now, and he's like in his 40s. At the summoning, I watched Bro Safari go back to back with Kill the Noise, Kill Safari. I'm pretty sure those guys are in their 40s, and you know it's really cool. You know, a lot of them have been doing it for a long time, but a lot of them are still doing it or getting their relevance later, and you know
Kill the
that's pretty
Noise.
inspiring.
Kill the Noise deserves a whole lot of respect, and I'm sure
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of the new kids are looking at him like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" But I'm like, who the fuck is this guy, right? But I'm like, they just don't know, man. Like this guy's OG.
Oh,
He's
gee.
the amount of time
Yeah.
that he's put in, and all the OGs actually. I think it's the amount of time and patience that they had that puts them at that veteran status. It puts them in that next level. Like, it's cool to have um like a big fan base, but I think what's really cool is to see long lasting, or what do they call it? When you're when
Continuity. Um,
continuity, like standing the test of time, like
yeah.
that. That's very respectable, dude. Um, I got a picture with Kill the Noise somewhere. I met him when he came to San Antonio, which was pretty cool.
Sweet.
Um,
Yeah, I really enjoyed their set. I really liked the message that they. It was basically just kind of what I said. You know, we've been doing this shit since we were in our early 20s, guys, and we're not going to tell you how old we are now, but let's just say it's been a long time, and boy, are we grateful to still be here. Shout out to Danny for bringing us all here together, and like, I thought it was just really cool because I
wait, wait,
like
wait! You're
I,
saying this was Kill Safari
at summoning.
at the summoning? Oh, okay, I didn't even know they were there. That's super cool, man.
Yeah, yeah, that was the debut. As so far, the only Kill Safari set was at Summoning, and they crushed. They were so good. And then just the message that they had at the end, like I said, it just made me want to give them a hug. Want me, I don't know, give somebody a hug, you know? So, like, I love those guys. I'll support them forever, and yeah, hope they keep killing.
You know what's funny, dude? I had this realization a few years back, and maybe you can tell me if you think this is true or not. But I I was like on CDJs, right? And when you load a song up on CDJs, it like takes a little bit.
Yeah, just a second.
It's a little bit more than a second. It feels like a long
Well,
time.
3000s. The only CDJs I played on are 3000s, and that shit was pretty quick. So,
Oh, interesting. I remember on the 2000s,
yeah,
it took like 3 or 4 seconds to load up a song.
right, yeah.
That little hiccup right there taught me something. Well, I kind of came to this realization, and I was like, holy shit, these are CDJ players. They used to have the CD, like to put a CD in there. And I started to think to myself, like, CDJs aren't for DJs. CDJs are for artists.
Yeah.
Because a DJ loads up everyone else's music very fast and does a lot of like fast mixing, right? I remember I used to be on Serato, and I used to do a song a minute, or even worse, dude. I would do like a song every 45 seconds. I'd mix a new song in. And I just remember getting so fast that I was just like, blending. I was just jumping from song to song. That's
Right.
what I would call fast mixing. Um, but for some reason, like on CDJs, I started to think about it. I was like, CDJs are meant for you to play your own music. It's a player. You know, those are not. I don't think of them as decks. I think of them as players. It's like you're there to play your own records, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've thought of that too, or if you agree with that. But it's kind of the something that I one of the realizations that I felt like I came to.
Right. Yeah. CDJs aren't for, well, if you know how to mix on any board, you can probably mix on CDJs, but they're made for to be the standard. They're not made for your uh anybody can do it on them, but they're very expensive. So yeah, it's like for the artists that are able to display that stuff. Absolutely. It's for those who either have access to or, have, I guess, built themselves enough to get to that point. Um,
There's a
yeah,
reason why certain club DJs pick a controller board over CDJs.
yeah.
There's a,
I like I
you know
like
what I mean?
CDJs.
Yeah, CDJs are great, but I'm talking about these club DJs who are mixing a ton of music throughout the night. You know, and I can see why they're picking the controller because it is easier
And
and
it
it is
takes less time
faster.
to load. And, yeah,
It's easier and it's faster. And CDJs, it's not. You can't mix as fast. Um, and so that's one of the things, man. Like that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're not supposed to just mix through. You're trying to display the tracks that you're putting out rather than just crank on to the next one.
Right, like even James Hype with Ford CDJs, he's still gonna mix slower than somebody on a fucking controller. I don't care how good you are. Like, there's no way you're mixing faster than a fucking controller. Because Serato's just fucking bam, 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 loading up so quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the way that the hotkeys work and everything, it's just I don't know. It's just much faster. I haven't seen the 3000s though. That's kind of interesting to think about. Maybe it has picked up, but I remember back then it's pretty fucking slow. CDJs were very slow.
Yeah, the new CDJ 3000s, they load a song in 1 second or less a lot of the time. Click and then boop, file pops up, brop, and then it loads out. It's like it was pretty freaking quick. I was impressed. It was so cool playing on that big 4 deck CDJ setup. Like felt very
Did you
official.
use all four decks?
No, I only used two
I was
because
about to say.
there was two 3000 decks and then there was two 2000 decks and the 3000s were in the middle like on either side of the center mixer. So I just used the 3000s. It's funny because the guy who was on before me who's been mixing for quite a while, he was using the 2000s and he didn't touch the 3000s because that's what he was comfortable with. And then here I come, I'm like, sweet, he's not plugged into the 3000s. Mine. And then there you go, I was on. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I like 3000s if, I'm sure you'll get the opportunity at some point to play on those, but feels like you're mixing with a spaceship.
Yeah, it might be 4000s by the time I get to it.
You're
um,
right. Maybe not owning your own, but I don't know. Just yeah, are you still keeping your name out there? Are you still trying to play club shows? And are you uh, turning more just towards your teaching side of things? Are you still trying to develop the, I guess, brand of Scorpion as well, or is that brand becoming more of a mentorship brand?
I think it's going in both directions. Like, of course, I'm keeping my name out there. However, um, talking about elevating yourself, I would be happy to be doing a lot of cool stuff in the clubs. I think the thing is, it's not that promoters can't afford my fee. I think it's that they don't want to pay it. And
Yeah,
that's different, right? Eventually, I do see myself getting to a point where it's like some promoters are like, no, we literally can't afford to get this guy out here. It just doesn't work with our budget. You know, we got overhead, we got the rent, we got the bills, utilities, we got to pay our employees, um, everything. You know, from the drinks to the fucking staff. It's just and then the production value, like everything. Like there's a reason why certain clubs can't bring certain artists. That's just certain DJs. Everyone would love to have James Hype in their fucking club, but at this point, a lot of them simply can't afford it.
Right. Yeah.
And so now he's like playing festival lineups and really big club shows, like some of the biggest clubs in Europe and stuff. So um, yeah, right now it's been I don't want to say a struggle, but it's definitely like a new challenge for me where it's like you know uh, club promoters don't want to pay my fee. It's like there's also an unlimited amount of people who will do it for free.
Yeah.
So and have you ever heard that saying like can't beat free? Um,
Yeah.
and in a way it's true, but on the other hand, like you won't hear me train wrecking, you know what I mean, in a set.
Right.
And then also like I don't see. Then this kind of goes into the ego thing, but like no, let's call it confidence because I think it is
See?
confidence. Um,
There you go.
I'm
Huge difference.
I'm confident in my ability to cultivate a set, cultivate a vibe. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not the guy who plays banger after banger, and then I'm also not the guy who like plays fucking tracks that nobody knows the whole night. Um,
Mhm.
I've got a really good blend of like taste, and then I also like do my research on the events, like what kind of crowd is this, what kind of music are they used to listening to at this venue, kind of, and then comes the hardest part, which is like you can plan everything, but then when you get there and you start playing, you got to read the fucking room, dude. Like, so you might have to call an audible. Like, do you watch football at all?
I'm yes.
You're
Heinous
huge.
amount of them.
Who who
Die hard.
who are you fans of?
Steelers.
The
Been a
Steelers.
Steelers fan. I'm wearing Steelers slides right now. I've had
Cool.
these for like 9 years. Like they're falling apart.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, these are my boys.
Gotta get some new ones for Christmas, dude. Um,
Yeah.
I when you watch football, right? And the Steelers come up and they're on the offense, and quarterback's about to fucking hike the ball. What does he do, man? He reads the fucking room. He
The
reads
defense.
he reads the defense, and if he feels like he needs to call an audible, he fucking does, right?
Mhm.
Um, I know that I watch the Cowboys, and the Cowboys fucking Dak calls audibles all the fucking time, dude. Um, it's just part of the game. So that happens in DJing too. Like, you got to be able to call audibles, read the room, and I think that's something that can set me apart from a bunch of the free guys. But yeah, man, it's weird. I think when you get yourself to a point where it's like, I don't really need to do um, the club for free anymore. That's where things get good, man.
Mhm.
Because then you can make money from home, and
Right.
that's really cool, dude. Um, like I said, I would love to play some clubs. I'd love to start really throwing in a few of my own tracks and see how they land with the scene. But I think again the thing that's holding me back is like I don't know if it's like the lack of drive or the lack of like uh I don't know what it is that for whatever reason I'm just not pushing that hard on that area. I remember when I first started DJing, like I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, I'll play anywhere," and I was playing at a bunch of different places, getting in front of all kinds of crowds. But it goes back to like, what are your goals, and how is it gonna serve you? Like, what is the purpose, right? Um,
Mhm.
to me, everything I do is with a purpose. Even this convo right here, it
Yeah.
it means a lot to me, and that's why we're doing it. Um,
Oh yeah.
and it
I love
aligns with my goals. It aligns with my long term vision. Like, you and what you're doing is we're gonna look back on this in years time and just be like, dude, that's amazing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's gonna be
I
it's gonna be really cool in hindsight.
are we found that?
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I think that's really what it's about. I hold myself in a higher regard because I've put in 1,000 plus hours into DJing. I don't know how many hours it is, but I just remember days where I would spend 6 hours mixing.
Mhm. That's been me for the past like 2 weeks.
So
I
you
put
get it.
together those sets, and yeah, that lot of time, but man, am I proud of them. And
Yeah,
just
eventually all
again,
the
the
time.
satisfaction to see all the time you put in just turn into something that you can just put your headphones in and you don't have to do anything. You can just listen, enjoy, sit back. Like that's pretty powerful. Love that.
I'm gonna tell this story wrong. I already know it, but I've been hearing it a bunch recently. Have you ever heard of the Pablo Picasso story where he drew on a napkin?
Vaguely, vaguely. I feel like I'm somewhere in there. But go
So
ahead.
he's at a coffee shop, and lady's like, "Oh, Picasso, draw me a napkin. Draw me something." And he says, "You want me to draw you something?" And he gets a pen, on the napkin, draw something, and she's like, "Oh, thank you." And he says, 3,000. I don't remember how much it was. He was like 3,000, right? And she like scoffed at him, and she was like, "But that only took you like 10 seconds to draw. Why is it? Why would I pay so much?" And he said, "You're not understanding the 30 plus years it took
Be
from
able to draw
to,
that.
to be able to draw that." Yeah, and that right there, because I've heard it so many times recently.
Mm,
That's where you start to elevate your status. It's like, dude, I've put in the years of effort. But I think what guys tend to mix up. I've never heard this problem from girls. That's why I'm using guys. It's always guys that have this problem. The guy DJs that always have this problem, man, is like they're like, but I've been DJing for 20 years. I'm like, dude, you touching the decks once a year for 20 years is not 20 years, dude.
right, right.
And that's what they think. They think like, the seniority rules. I've been doing it 20, 30 years, whatever, dude. It's not true. I met this guy. He said he's been making music for like 30 years. And when I listen to his stuff, like, I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but I'm like, it sounds like the dude he opened up his DAW like a few times a year for 30 years. Like, of course,
Right.
you're not going to get where you want to be. You need to put in the effort, you need to put in the time. And so, yeah, dude, just, I guess, elevating yourself and like holding yourself to a higher worth. Like, I've done some weddings that were just fucking phenomenal because of all the time that I've put in to like be able to MC, host the dinner service, to introducing the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, to like just kind of getting that whole thing going. I just
Yeah.
remember like just being the solo entertainer for the entire night, and from um, the vows exchange, playing the music for the vow, like when they're walking down the aisle, to them doing the vow exchange, to then hosting the dinner service, to then starting the dance party, to then ramping it up and really getting that shit popping to where people are breakdancing on the floor.
Yeah.
Like
That's
all of
so
that,
cool. That's so
all of
cool.
that, dude, was like a culmination. It was like a big test. It was like, all right, let's see what you got, you know?
Yeah. That
And
takes skill.
yeah, dude, I think it took a lot of like me practicing at home to even
Hmm.
just mix the songs the way I did, to fucking cultivate the night the way I did. Like each section throughout the evening into the night had a tone that was set. And I remember this like drunk guy that came up because the dance had just started, and I was like playing like disco, and we were kind of like, everyone was on the floor, and we were just, it was more like family songs, like stuff you could dance with your family, like no twerking and shit. And I remember this drunk
That
dude.
comes later.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
gotta
It came later.
bring it there.
But this drunk guy came up. He got hammered so quick, dude. He came up to me. He's like, bro. He's like, it's too slow. He's like, you need to ramp it up like right now. And I was like, just hang on, dude. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean? But he was ready, dude. He was like ready to fucking be an animal. Um,
That's great.
but yeah,
Sounds
dude.
like fun.
Final wrap up. Like, what's on your mind? Like, what are your closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Um, I guess on me, I am working on music. I'm working on an album called Something in the Dark that I would like to have done here in the next few months. I'd say it's probably about 65, 70% done. Got like eight fully structured songs and four other ones that are like halfway done. So shooting for 12 there. That's about me. That's fun. So hopefully you'll hear more about that soon. But then just in general, I suppose, stay growing, stay looking, keeping your eyes open. Positive energy is huge, like what you think about throughout your day is what your day becomes. What you think about throughout your life is what your life becomes. You manifest that. What you are right now is what you were thinking about a year ago or what you were doing over the last year. So keep that in mind. Manifest positively. You got a water canister, and with the water in it's your energy for the day. Are you watering weeds or are you watering your flowers? Because that energy is going to go somewhere. What do you want to grow, right? So definitely focus on positivity, manifesting the things that you want while working towards them um, at the right pace for you. Don't stress yourself. Don't put so much on your own plate that you crumble under the pressure of your own expectations. But believe in yourself and stay true to the course. Be patient and keep doing your thing. Be friendly, meet people, and find people doing the same thing, and then you guys are gonna help each other out. So I think that's what it is.
I love that. I loved every word of that. I I'm thankful, man. Thankful that you hopped on to do this. Took time out of your busy schedule because I know you're doing a lot these days, and I'm super excited for you to come to Texas, man. We definitely do got to link up, for sure. Then,
100%.
um,
100%.
I remember pushing. I was trying. Did I tell you I was trying to go to Boise? Uh,
A while back, I remember when you were, yeah, trying to get transferred to the office. I was all stoked for about 5 minutes until you told me it wasn't going to happen.
well, yeah, I was just trying to get a trip out there and go do something, also travel and go see you. But yeah, since you're gonna be a lot closer, dude, we definitely got to do something. I might even take a trip up north, or maybe we meet halfway in the middle. It doesn't matter, dude. I'm down
Figure
to
it
do it.
out, man.
Yeah, I'm down to do whatever. These days have just been a big blessing, and I want everyone to get to a place where I'm at, which the place where I'm at right now is. I think I'd be really happy if like nothing else came my way and everything just stayed the way it is.
That's cool. That's peace.
It's peace, dude. I'm happy with my, few hundred plays on the stuff I release because it means the world to me. That couple hundred um, people like that listen to my stuff, and some of them come back for seconds and thirds. Like I see you guys out there. I see you guys, listening to the same track 25 times. I got insights. It's
Yeah,
it's it's nice, man. It makes me feel awesome that one person came back over and over and over and just kept playing the track for themselves. Maybe it did something for them. Maybe they felt emotional connection. I don't know, but I do pour my heart and soul into every project I do, and yeah, man, I don't really need much, and I think that's actually why I do a lot of like coaching and mentoring now. It's because like I don't need much for myself. Like I'm not too busy trying to collect, um, shiny coins on the ground for myself. I'd I'd rather walk alongside someone else and like help them pick up some coins for themselves. I think that's more fun. I don't know, dude. Like, I, have you ever taught like I don't think I've ever done this, but like, have you ever taught like a child how to fish and then
I've taught.
watching them like catch their first fish, like watching a child catch their first fish and just seeing their face like light up with pure joy and excitement.
I remember that moment for me and my dad when I caught my first fish. I haven't taught any kids how to fish, but taught
But
them how to
you
throw a football. And
but
watching,
you were taught how to I mean you felt that thing but from one side, right?
yeah, yeah. And then the
So
other side's just as rewarding.
yeah, yeah, maybe even more, dude.
Mhm.
I think maybe even more. Like I have more fun seeing someone else helping someone else find joy than I do like myself finding joy. It's really weird, dude, these days. Like I help myself find some joy and I'm just like, cool, dude. Like whatever. Right? But I help someone else and then like, dude, I get hyped. I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like, that's it feels good inside, dude. Like I don't know, it's just like fuel. Um
Um,
so yeah, I just want everyone to get like to a place of peace and comfort, and I think that's why I'm like really pushing and striving. Like I want that. I want that for other people. And you know why I want that for other people too, man? Is cuz like the world would just be a much better place. I won't have, you know, so many negative interactions throughout the day. Like I would have like maybe, two less people cut me off in traffic because of it. Like
yeah.
I would have,
Butterfly effect. That spreads.
yeah, man.
One good deed.
Like I'd just be living. I'd be living better too if more people helped each other out. So, um,
Right.
just trying to spark something, dude. Like, and what's funny, I think, when you spark like a revolution or you do something great, most people forget like that you were the one that kind of sparked it. Because see, Martin Luther King wasn't the spark that lit the fire. He was just when the flames were the biggest.
Right.
And he made sure to do with what he could with that. But I don't think a lot of people remember the names of the heroes and the people that really sparked the civil rights movement. Like I'm talking about the first. Like can you imagine the first person who had the idea of like, "Hey, this isn't right?" They got shut down immediately. Like everyone was just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. No
But that
doubt.
was the spark, and then so like maybe they kept talking about it and getting more ideas out there, and then it like that fire starts to turn into a little bit and it starts to spread. Um, so I think that's what I'm trying to do, man. And even if I am forgotten, I think that'd be okay with me. Like I'm not doing this uh, to be rich and famous. I'm just doing it like selfishly for my heart and soul. Like I don't know. That's just where we're
Hey
at
man,
now.
selfish. You say selfishly. I would argue selflessly.
Well, and that's the other thing. I think you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
be.
You feel better because of being selfless. You're selfishly treating yourself to good feelings by being selfless, which isn't selfish isn't necessarily such a bad thing
It's
in that
not. Yeah.
circumstance.
It's not. And if you do want to get on the path to like becoming a better person or getting to a better place, I think you do at a point have to be selfish and start cutting a few people off. Like it's just life. Um, even if they were your day ones, but they're just not like growing with you anymore, and they're not
Yeah,
trying to better themselves in any way, and they're kind of just holding you back and dragging you down for you trying to be better. Like you know, you gotta let those people go, man. Like I know I did that. Um, I did that for sure, man. Like what can you do? Like it's just life, People grow apart, and you
hmm
wish the best for them. It's not like you want them to die, but it's just like
right.
sorry, like we just can't hang anymore. Like I'm trying to do better for myself, and I want to build a community, and all you want to do is just party and do drugs or just do dumb shit all the time. Like there's more to life than getting high and just watching Netflix all day. Like
I agree. I
the,
agree. Take care of your stuff. That's a good thing. Do your stuff first. Like when you get home from work, do whatever you gotta do, like right away. Don't sit down first. Get your stuff done, and then when you come to the end of that, like when I hop on my computer, I work. Oh, 4 hours passed. I'm a bit done now, but hey, I did 4 good hours. Now, with the rest of my night, I was productive. It doesn't matter what I do. I checked my box and feel good about that. Now I can treat myself to whatever as long as all of my priorities and responsibilities are taken care of. Like, get those out of the way and then enjoy your free time.
dude, you're so right. For this last hour of my night, I'm just gonna fucking chill. Like,
That's right.
probably not gonna do much. Um, but yeah, dude, you're absolutely right, man. Just get the stuff out of the way. You know, this was my project for as soon as I got home. I was like, I'm doing this, um, and I'm glad that you did it too, man. I know. I've been pushing you to make more content, and I think it's gonna be good, man. I really do.
Oh yeah. Well, hey man, I want to thank you. I appreciate this. This is fun. You know, you and I consider you a very good friend. You and I talk quite a bit, and we have some really cool conversations where we touch on a lot of different things. So, I think putting that on the other side of a lens so that that could be shared or looked back on, if it has value to anybody, which I'm sure it will,
Oh yeah.
to at least one person out there. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I might even do it again sometime.
Yes, dude, definitely. And then you know, I'd love to see you reach out and you know maybe you can have a podcast with Danny. Like that'd be super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Oh, well, with Danny, I see what you mean. My
Yeah.
roommate, Danny,
Oh yeah, yeah.
him and I are going to be doing a podcast stuff. He's already getting microphones and stuff. He's all stoked about that.
Hell yeah.
That's funny. Oh gosh, getting Danny like Daniel Death on the
Yeah, dude.
on a podcast.
It's
I
easier
mean,
than you
it's
think.
not impossible, not impossible at all. If you just gotta work your way there, get the opportunity to line up. And I know he's pretty gracious. I feel like he's
Just
somebody that
just
anybody.
fucking message Colin and be like, "Yo, we got to do this."
Colin has not hit me back since the summoning
Who
after all the
cares?
stuff he told
Who
me. It's
cares,
fine.
dude?
Well,
Oh,
no, I'm not sour at all. I like he's a busy guy. I honestly was like,
do you need me to go smack some sense in him? Cause I'll fucking
Colin, what are you doing?
I'll
No,
call
it's
him out. I'll call him out.
hey man. No, it's cool. I know I'll see him again. I know they'll see me again, and they know who I am. They know the energy that I put out. I love those
Dude, but
guys. They're
I'm not afraid.
great
Like
people.
I will tell him like, dude, you need to get Danny on a call with fucking Kate. Like, needs to happen.
Yeah, that'd be cool,
I'm
man.
not ashamed. I'm not ashamed, bro.
It's easier if you do it. It's like
Are
you can
you
be my
giving
wingman.
Are you giving me the blessing, bro? Like,
Hey man, do what you think is best. I'm
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
show up to his house like Stewie. Where's my
you
money?
doubt it. Dude, bro, where's it at?
Oh man,
Hey man, I've been
I'm
looking for you. I found you.
getting real tired of you ducking me, man. uh,
That's cool, dude.
but
That's cool.
yeah, dude, this was so much fun.
Yeah.
You've given me a lot to think about, and I think you've given everyone else some clarity. Um, yeah, man, all around one of the best podcasts I've done this year for sure. So I appreciate you.
Well, appreciate that. It's my first podcast and only podcast I've ever done so far. So
Do you just crush everything you do, man? You crush the debut, you crush the podcast, like you just back to back wins, dude. Taking wins.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, you're a good dude. You're a good friend. Definitely killer coach, supporter, supportee. I support you for sure. And, you know, give this man a follow. He probably have his links wherever this stuff is getting posted. You guys, go give my boy Scorpion some love. He's that dude.
Appreciate that, man.
I
Well,
got you.
till next time, signing
Until
off.
then, my friend.